All right, so this is the crafting section, what I'm doing this week for gold making. So this is part of a bigger series where I'm going to try and give you a couple of ideas each week about how to consistently make gold. I'm not the kind of person who's going to send you off on a thing that says this thing makes a ton of gold, but I don't tell you that it's going to take 14,000 hours to get that thing, and then you have to spend that long again to try and find somebody to buy it. I have one farm on the go, which is a bit of a grind, but I'm just slipping it in amongst other gold farms. I'm not dedicating my life to it. So I'm just doing like a brief overview of a couple of things you can do to buff up your gold making each week. So the first thing is these patron orders. You can see some of them are still in profit. You really want to do the ones that give you the argument runes. But you can see some of these still give you a good amount of gold. And then on top of that, you get the tailoring knowledge, which is really good if you're trying to build up your skill points. But it's also really good for the artisan's acuity. When you get 600 of these, you can turn them in for a bag that equals around 6,000 gold at current prices in mats. And I sell anything that's silver or gold level and then use that profit to buy bronze level stuff because I'll make twice as much that way. And I can make most things at silver and gold level with those cheaper materials. The other thing is recently people have started to be able to pay to use your artisan's acuity, essentially. I filled an order the other day and I made a short about it and you can go check that out. I filled an order the other day using my artisan's acuity for somebody else and they give me a 15,000 gold tip for that. So definitely consider that. It's just keeping some on hand for when people want that. The other thing is some of these orders don't look like they're going to make you gold. But like I said, that bag at the end that you trade the artisan's acuity for will give you gold and it will probably offset this, if not more. And if you're using the vial of bountiful seasons, when you're filling these orders, you increase the chances that when you make one of these orders, you save on regions. It's not guaranteed, but it does increase the chances. And that's always a win when I'm filling some of these public orders. There aren't any right now. But when they're doing gold level exquisite weaver cloth and gold level storm dust, when you've got that potion on, sometimes you can turn just filling that order in without tips into anywhere between 700 and 1,000 gold. So it's definitely worth looking at. Don't underestimate the power of spending money to make money. You can see here, this is a really good example of how you can make a lot of gold just filling these patron orders. So don't forget to check them. So the other thing to look at is just your professions in general. It's really easy to forget that people leveling alts do want to buy gear right from the onset at their level, especially if you've been given a boost or something like that. People will buy these, in particular the level 71 things. People do buy those and they do buy those for usually pretty good prices. You can see here it's dropped a little bit. I haven't run the auction house scan today. I've logged in and started to make this video. I haven't even checked my mailbox. But even at 74 gold, that's still profit for making a level 71 item. And the worst case scenario in my instance is I disenchant them. It's never come to that. I make lots of gold selling these during the week and it's just passive. It's easy. You can do a number of really easy cloth farms to get what you need, or you can just buy them off the auction house and you're still making profit that way. So don't underestimate the power of doing those things. So the other thing of note here, I'm going to start telling you pretty much how much gold I'm making on average doing these things. The patron order is like it's hit and miss in terms of daily income. Like some days you'll make 9,000 gold and other days you'll make 400 gold. So I would say that on a weekly estimate, and that's just logging in for 10 minutes and seeing what's here and deciding if it's worth doing. But a weekly estimate, I would say I'm making 15,000 gold, filling these patron orders when I can, more if I'm picking up the public orders at the same time. So don't be afraid to advertise. You can see I've done it here. Don't be afraid to advertise and tell people that you are looking for work because you will get people who whisper you. It doesn't always happen, but it takes you 10 seconds to do. If you're going to be spending time on the auction house and things like that anyway, go and do it. The other thing I just wanted to quickly mention is the competitor gear. It does sell. It's incredibly slow. Like it's agonizingly slow. So I make one of these at a time and leave them on the auction house and relist, I don't know, 40 or 50 times. I sell maybe one of those a month. So don't be putting a big lot of energy into these competitor clothes. They do sell. I make more gold from these filling the public orders where the people want the better versions, the bind on equip versions. So I make more money with it that way. But from an auction house perspective, they do okay, but you're going to make a lot more gold making these accessory gears. You can see here, like that gardening hat just for one. And I sell these every day. I don't sell insane amounts of them, but I do list them. I go away, I come back, and I've sold a fair few. They're really easy. They don't take a lot of gold to make, and they sell pretty frequently. The other thing is bags. They sell. It's really easy to make. If you've got this potion on before you make it, you can save a fair bit on the regents. So you can see here I'm using silver exquisite weaver cloth. You can also see here that it is still the cheaper thing to be buying, just because I've said before I only use bronze stuff, but I only use bronze stuff when it's sensible. So if it's smarter to be using the silver stuff, go and use the silver stuff. Check out those things. Doing those each week, you can probably spend like 10 minutes a day making these things and relisting them on the auction house. I think this particular thing, I make 10 to 15, maybe even 20,000 gold a week. It depends how often I log on. If I'm logging on every day, I'm going to make more gold, even if I'm just logging on for 10 minutes every day, because I'm giving myself more chances to sell those things. But if I'm only logging on a couple of days a week, and I usually only do, I don't know, 3 or 4 days a week, sometimes I'm only logging in for 10 minutes to literally do the auction house. I just want to say I am a tailor and an enchanter. I make a lot more gold enchanting than I do tailoring, and I'll cover that in another video. I don't have information about other professions, just these ones. Ask questions if you like, and I'll do my best to answer you. But like I said, I only have tailoring and enchanting, so my information is really focused on that. I don't have an alt army. I'm not going to start an alt army. I have 2.4 million gold, and I've been paying for my subscription every month since November as well on top of that. Like, I'm making insane amounts of gold with a single character. You can be a casual player and make a lot of gold. So that's basically what this series is going to be about. How am I making gold? And you can look at it and see whether or not you want to do any of that yourself. And this is just casual players. Don't go insane making gold. Some people make a lot more gold than me, and I know that's true, but they also spend a lot more time on WoW than I do. And what I'm doing is what most people want anyway, to be able to pay for your subscription without going insane and still be able to actually play the game. All right, guys, you might have noticed tiny bit poorer since just like 10 minutes ago. Storm dust is incredibly cheap right now. Look at that, 16 gold a thing. So yeah, go and get it if you're an enchanter. Lately, we've been paying like 22 gold per storm dust, so I bought a bunch of that. Yeah, it just makes sense to go buy a bunch of that. So that's what I've done. Hey guys, I just wanted to show you another order popped up just while I was sitting here. So these public orders are still making loads of gold. I don't often get the opportunity to show you that they're still making gold because you've got to be quick. You've got to pick them up when you see them, or somebody else is going to do that, because I can fill that and make almost 2,000 gold for 30 seconds, and it's right there. So don't forget to check out the Patron Orders. So that's the end of this video today. I will make another one in a couple of days about like routes and things you can take for making the most gold out of some other things that I'm doing. So just to wrap it up, don't forget to check your Patron Orders, see what gold can be made there. Don't forget that the lower level tailoring things like the pioneer cloths, the accessory gear, the bags all make loads of gold passively. And don't neglect the lower level enchants. It might not seem that things like the glimmering enchants make a lot of gold, and in this particular instance, they're not. But sometimes they can make 20 or 30 gold per enchant, and it's very low competition. You can just list them and run away. So don't forget to consider those options. And of course, check the chat for public orders. And don't forget to actually check public orders, because you make a lot of gold picking those up. They're just easy. So that's all for today's video. If you found anything in this video helpful or entertaining, give it a subscribe for the next ones. The ways I show you to make gold are not overly glamorous, but they are effective. They can be repeated. They will pay for your subscription. So there are a couple of things. Like I said, I am doing that mount grind just casually though. When I think I spend 10 minutes at a time on it, and then I don't do any more than that. I'll go insane, and I don't want to go insane for gold. But the majority of my gold, and I make lots of it every day, is done through just casual gaming. And that's what this channel aims to show you how to do, how to make gold without going insane. So give it a subscribe if you found this valuable in any way. And as always, remember, girls don't play WoW.